would love to hear what you think. Now, with that down, Chainsaw Man. Let's talk about that. And my initial reaction, I've watched half of it so far because I'm watching the dub, and I'll give you my full review when it's all completed. One, Denji needs to grow the heck up. I have a lot of things to say about his character in particular, but let's tone it down. Let's talk about the show overall first. Wow. I mean, wow, what a great show. And I would like to talk about the plotting and how that first episode is absolutely amazing. First episode is stellar. You start with one character, and the other characters that are in the episode, they show you exactly what is going on with him and why you should care. It's absolutely amazing. There's not a single wasted scene in the first episode. It's one of the things that I really, really appreciate, especially as someone who wants to be a storyteller, and I'm definitely taking notes. Every single scene in the first episode matters, and it allows them to build, rather quickly, going forward into the show. So I think, the plotting is excellent. The first episode is a masterwork. I was hooked basically instantly. And, now I really just want to talk about Denji's, kind of sketchy motivation. And obviously this is more of a personal thing. The reason that Chainsaw Man doesn't rank it ranks high for me. Like, I love it a lot, but it's not in my all-time top five right now, and that's simply because I personally can't look up to Denji's values, and I can't look up to his reasons for doing what he does. As someone who has spent his entire adult life being celibate and working very, very ridiculously hard to stay abstinent, Denji is not, him and his horniness is not someone that I look up to. And so that's really, and again, that's a personal thing. That's just me. If you're different, then have at it. You probably love the show more than I do. But for me personally, I can't look up to a character where his only motivation in life is to get a little bit of action with a woman that he barely even knows. And one of the things that, to the show's credit, massive amounts of credit, is that he seems to be finding out the hard way that his motivations aren't all that they're cracked up to be. So I really, really hope that his character continues to grow, continues to evolve. And that one scene where he kisses the one character with the eye patch, I forget her name, and she vomits up in his throat. One, great writing. That was completely unexpected, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was hilarious. But it also goes to show that, not everything is the way you think it is the first time around. And I really appreciate that the characters are helping Denji grow up in almost a way, or the show is giving a commentary on that sort of behavior. It's not just doing it for a goof. Like, it's actually being intelligent, it's actually being mature. And so I really look forward to seeing where this show goes in terms of exploring the sexual tension between Denji and literally all of the other women in the show. And hopefully, I'm hoping that he grows up and starts bringing out a more mature reasoning for things and gets a bigger and better why. That will help me personally connect to him more as a character, and it will move my appraisal of the show up in closer to the top five. And then when I say top five, I'm talking Code Geass, Attack on Titan, Death Note, among some others. I can never think of my top five off the top of my head because I have watched a lot of anime. But suffice to say, my relationship to Denji and how well I relate to his motivations to doing what he does is the only thing holding me back slightly from really saying the show is 10 out of 10. So far it's 9 out of 10, but depending on Denji's arc and how his character grows as an individual and how the show commentates on that, that'll really decide whether this show is a 10 out of 10, provided that the plotting and everything else stays relatively the same. The animation is fantastic, the plot is great, the The dialogue is fantastic. I love all of it. And so for me, I'm hoping that Denji learns to look for meaning in relationships and not just getting, quick sexual satisfaction. And I am aware that is just me personally. Art is subjective and, and objective, but sometimes we relate to different things differently based on our past experiences. Like I've said, I've been abstinent my entire adult life, and so for me, that's just where I'm coming from. If you're different, then no, that's fine. And so for me personally, the way I would look at going about romance and stuff is I would look to search for meaning in those relationships so that they actually fill you up even on dark days when things aren't as fun and aren't as good. And I hope that the show progresses and at least commentates on that. And again, I am not someone who doesn't like a show just because it doesn't teach the same values as I do. We're going to get to that in a little bit later. We're going to talk about Sandman and why I still love it, even though there's a lot of different things in it. I don't have to have a TV show preach its values or my values to me in order to love it. If I want a sermon, I will go to church. If I want to be entertained, I just want to watch a show. And the characters can have different values and different ideas about life, and I'm not going to get upset with that. It does change, how well I relate to those characters and whether or not I look up to them or not. But that doesn't necessarily change how much I love or hate the show. And so going forward, I hope that the show just continues to be doing what it's doing because I absolutely love it. And with that down, thank you so much for being here, guys. That is my halfway point review of Chainsaw Man. I will do a full review later on once I finish the dubbed version because that's the version that I want to watch. And let me know, what anime do you want me to react to? I have seen a lot and I would love to do more reviews for you guys. Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And with that all down, I